suddenly there came from heaven a sound of a mighty rushing wind, and it filled all the house where they were seated. And tongues of cloven fire fell upon each of them and sat upon each of them equally. And they began speaking in other tongues. Are you with me? They began speaking in other tongues, and the multitudes heard about this, and they gathered round, and they said, what is the meaning of this? That each of us can hear our own language in our own mother? But they were not speaking a language. They were speaking Breko, Shekaraba, Membro Logo. But the German could hear, the Greek could hear his language, the Jew could hear, the Hindu could hear, the Zulu could hear, the Xhosa could hear. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? Right? How come? How come? How come? Higher life, higher life. Supernatural. He says, what is the meaning of this? These men are filled with new wine. In other words, these guys are drunk. And Peter, hearing this, stood up with the 11 and said, you men of Galilee, Judea, and Jerusalem, these men are not drunk as you suppose. For this is that was spoken by the prophet Joel, that in these last days God says, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and daughters will prophesy, and your young men will have visions, and your old men will have dreams. Come on, somebody in this house. And then immediately afterwards, the Bible says, Peter said, you men of Israel, this same Jesus, whom you crucified, and then they got upset with the apostles, the scribes, the Pharisees, the Sadducees. Are you with me? Right? Then you go to chapter 3. And the Bible says, now Peter and John, it was about the hour, and they were on their way to the temple for the hour of prayer. And here they're on their way to the temple, and they come to a place called the gate called Beautiful. And here's a lame man sitting from his mother's womb, from birth. He's lame, like lame, like lame.